Hello there. Today is Thursday, December the 29th. We're reading Job 37, 38, and 39. Also Psalm 103 and Revelation chapter 21. This is the next to last day of our Bible reading plan for 2022. We will wrap up tomorrow on Friday, and then beginning next week on January the 2nd, we'll start into a new plan. This next year, we're reading in the New Testament only. I hope you've already gotten your New Testament copy from us. We have large print editions ready to hand out to you with the Bible reading plan stuff right in the middle of it. I want you to have that so you can follow along. You can underline and circle some words in there, make some notes if you will, and then also continue to answer the questions. What do we learn about God? What do we learn about people? And what's the next step I can take today? Hang out with us on this little video. It'll also be a podcast in 2023. Hang out with us for a little bit each day and then pray about it and ask God to lead you and to guide you well. And I believe this is going to be an incredible time for you to take next steps in following Jesus. I think 2023 could be an incredible year for you if you will make an investment of just a few minutes a day into His Word. Now, today is, as I said, the next to last day, and I love where we find ourselves in Job, the book of Job right now. If you've been reading along every day and you followed this whole thing, then you know that the book of Job has been rough. Job has been through some hard things. He's lost his family, his job, his everything. His wife is there and it says, why don't you just curse God and die? He has some friends that come along and don't help him a whole lot. People argue with them and all these things. And Job, he's been frustrated. He's been upset at times and all this, but Job has remained faithful to God. However, throughout all of Job, the first 37 chapters of the book of Job, God appears to never really speak back to him. It begs the question for me. When things are hard and when they're difficult and when things are not going your way and you're really struggling a lot, maybe 2022 feels that way for you. Maybe it feels like things are not going the best way for you, or it feels like God is absent or silent in the middle of your pain, in your moment of need. What do you do? What do you continue to do? See, Job has been calling out to God, but hearing nothing. And we get to Job 38. And Job 38, verse number 1, begins with these words. It says, Then the Lord spoke to Job. Then the Lord spoke to Job. I love that in this moment, the Lord finally speaks to Job. He's going to hear a word from the Lord. But where does the Lord speak to Job out of? This is important to me too. I don't want to overly allegorize this or anything, but it's important to me. It says, Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. Guys, life can feel like a storm. It can feel messy. I mean, right now, we are right between Christmas and New Year's, the holiday time, and you've got more time with family, more time to travel, more time to sit around and do nothing, maybe. Or maybe your job is different and you got more time to work and you're working long hours, extra hours, trying to catch up and get things finished up for the year. I don't know what it is. You're staring down a new year. A new year for budgeting and for tax things and all that. It's been cold outside for a while. I don't know if you're like me, my furnace has been struggling this past week and you're wondering, how am I going to fix things and what's going to go on? And I don't know what your storm looks like, but life can feel stormy, can't it? It can feel stormy. But sometimes God waits to speak to us out of the storm. I love that. I love that it's in those moments that we hear God speak to us. What does God say? Verse 2. He says to Job, Who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? He said, Who are you, Job, to understand these things? Listen to me. And he says, Brace yourself like a man. I will question you and you shall answer me. He says, Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? On what footings were set? Or who laid its cornerstone while all the morning stars sang together and the angels shouted for joy? Who shut up the sea behind doors? And he goes on, asking these questions. And the answer to these questions is all, well, obviously it's God. You, Lord, did these things. But he says to Job, out of the storm, out of the silence, out of the perceived absence, who are you to think this? Where were you when I did this? And where were you when I did that? And God reminds Job. He reminds him that I was here before you, and I will be here after you, and I've never left you in the middle. Today, maybe you need to hear those words. Maybe you need to consider those words. God says, I know life feels stormy. I know it's felt quiet. I know you have longed for a fix. But you need to know I was here before you. I'm going to be here for after you. And I have a plan for you in the middle, and I'll never leave you. Today, whatever the storm feels like, lean into God. Listen for Him. Remember, He provided before, He'll provide again. He protected before, He'll protect again. And you listen, knowing that even though it feels like 37 chapters of your storm is played out, chapter 38 is coming, and God is still here. So trust Him. Follow Him, and let Him lead you. Until I see you again, you are sent.